Hello and welcome to Nick's Allotment Diary.
Today I'm going to start with a little tour at the beginning of May. So these are the onions that I planted a few weeks ago, the heat treated onions, and as you can see they've now started to sprout. So I'm going to today remove the netting from over the top of them. I covered the onions over before they sprouted just to prevent the birds from pulling them up, but now they've sprouted I can remove the net. You can see here this is the no-dig bed, the fungal growths that's come up from under the cardboard. I've been reliably informed that that doesn't cause any problems. In fact, it's actually a good sign to show that the soil is in good condition. So I'm just going to leave those as they are, and hopefully that will actually help improve the onion growth. Moving now over to the garlic. So we have here the elephant garlic, which is looking pretty good. These are the first few on this row. And then these are the regular garlic, variety Casablanca, I think. This bed is going to be a regular bed this year. I'm going to put my tomatoes, I think, in this bed particularly, and a few other things. But as you can see here, this was the bed that had the potatoes in last year. And it looks as if I missed a fair few of the potatoes because of loads of potato shoots coming up in this bed. So before I plant anything in it, I'm going to remove these out because I don't want potatoes in this bed this year. Next, over to the bed that had the brassicas in. I've removed the majority of the brassicas, but I thought I'd leave a couple of kale to go to flower. There are lots of bees about at this time of the year, and I thought, well, I'll leave these so that they can produce some pollen for them. Because I'm not ready to plant in this bed yet. Over to this bed. This is the bed that's got a few different things in, including the chard over there, which is still producing loads of leaves. There's some leeks in this bed, some leeks that were planted quite late on. I'm going to harvest those soon before they flower, because I think these one will actually produce flower heads because they're in their second season. And this here is celeriac. Now I've not grown celeriac before, and I didn't harvest it at the back end of last year. It's not produced particularly big heads, don't know if you can see there, but it has produced a little bit of a bulb, so I'm going to harvest those and use those soon. Over to the plum tree. Now, a bit concerned about the plum. Anybody that knows much about stone fruits, quite a bit of dieback on some of the branches, so I'm not sure it's got some sort of disease. I can't see any sort of canker on the branches. Any ideas why some of the branches are dying back? Here's the thornless blackberry. That's just about to burst into flower now. You can see the flower heads ready. So that should produce quite a few blackberries this year. Now we're at the herb bed. A few of the herbs starting to flourish now. This is the chives, they're going to flower soon. Oregano. I can't remember what this herb is here. It's not a scent, it definitely is a herb. I'll have to wait, I think, to see what that one is. This one's curry plant. and then we've got lemon balm, we've got lavender, rosemary and thyme. Now moving across to the strawberry bed. I have revamped the strawberry bed to try and remove as much bindweed as possible, but I have seen on the edge here and a few other places it's starting to emerge again. So no matter how much you think you've dug out as much bindweed roots as you can, you still get it. So I'm going to have a go at digging out the bits where I see the stems coming from the ground, see if I can find the bits of root that I've missed. Now the middle bed is empty. This is the no dig bed. I've decided what I'm going to put in this one now. This one's going to be pumpkins and squashes. It's a bit too early to put those out yet. There could still be a frost, so I'm going to leave that just a little bit longer, and then this will be my pumpkin and squash bed this year. And over here we have another bed. This is going to be a conventional bed. Again, not quite decided exactly what's going to go in here, but possibly beans and peas, but I'll decide in the next week or so from what I've got growing in the greenhouse what needs to go where. Across to the flower bed, the roses. You can see they've put on a load of growth, looking very healthy and glossy. And another rose here, and another one there. Got this plant here which I don't know what it is. It's got small purple flowers. They're closed up at the moment, possibly because the sun's not out. Don't know whether it's a weed, herb. Any ideas what that plant is? Also in this bed I've got loads of Calendula growing. See loads of them here. They readily self-seed each year and have loads of lovely orange flowers. This is a Californian poppy that's self-seeded from last year. I did have some plants that I put in towards the back end of last year, and now this one I think is a self-seeded. So that should be interesting to see how that grows this year. Into the fruit cage now. So these are the strawberries. These are the ones with the pink flowers that produce strawberries throughout the whole of the season. And here we have blueberries. They're in flower at the moment. Not loads of flowers on the blueberries this year, so I don't think I'm going to get a very large crop. Hopefully a few. Here we have a standard red currant. It's just starting to produce some leaves, and I don't know if you can see there, that's the start of a flower. They produce flowers in clusters, the red currants. So you get strings of red currants growing. Now down here to the black currant, that's in flower, just starting to produce some berries. If you go along to this one here, you can see there's a few that have already started to produce berries. And over here we have gooseberries. Again, they've just been flowering, and there's a few small fruits just starting to produce. We also have more red currants and another thornless blackberry at the back. So at the back there we also have some white currants. That should be interesting because I've not grown those before. And finally in the fruit cage This is the cherry. This is the dwarf cherry that I had growing last year. I've had a few flowers on it. I'm not sure if we can see any cherries. Let's have a look. Oh yes, there's some at the back there, there's a few. So hopefully we'll get a few cherries on it this year. Along the edge of the fruit cage, you can see here, we've got the bindweed has returned. Again, it's very difficult to get it out because it emerges from under the paving. So I'm going to have a go at trying to keep on top of it this year and just see if I can get to a point where I can just starve it. If I keep cutting it back, hopefully the roots won't be able to sustain the plant and eventually it will die off. That's my plan anyway. Into the greenhouse. So this jungle here are some of the sunflower plants. They desperately need potting on, so I'm going to be doing that today. And also I've got in here all sorts of different things. I've got squashes, I've got tomato plants, cucumbers, dahlias, lettuce, some pepper plants there, some young peppers, some cabbages. They need pricking out. Though I have pricked one tray of them out, so they're ready to go out into the ground. Some more sunflowers, beetroot, sweet peas, tomato plants. These were the yellow tomato plants that I was given the seedlings of, and I've potted on. So I'm going to have loads of those. I'm going to have to give some of those away because I haven't got the space for them all. Over here we have some leeks. They're ready to go out into the soil now. And these tomato plants, they're ready to go into the greenhouse border. But I need to sort this left hand side of the greenhouse out because I've got my potting bench on this side. Which has got some different things on, so I need to remove that out of the greenhouse and use it elsewhere. So what have I got on the potting bench? Well, I've got some kale and some cauliflower plants. These are tomatillos, which I've never grown before. I was given the seed for those and I'm giving those a try for the first time. One of the giant sunflower plants, sweet corn. I had two varieties of sweet corn, one which was an older packet called variety called Incredible, and another variety called Goldcrest. Now the Goldcrest have all emerged and the Incredible haven't emerged at all, so the seed wasn't viable. It was well out of date, the packet, so I'm not surprised really. At the back there we've got some squash and some more tomato plants. So plenty going on inside the greenhouse and lots to be potted on as soon as the danger of frost has passed. Now I do have some brassicas that are ready to go on. These have been hardened off outside. These are a variety called Brussels sprouts Bosworth, and we've got some green curly kale, so those are ready to go out into the allotment beds. So I should be doing that in the next couple of days. Over to the front of the allotment now. The rhubarb is really doing well now. Need to do some more picking of that. And next to that we have all the buckets and bags of potatoes, some of which are ones that were left from last year, these ones here, and some of them you will have seen me potting up a couple of weeks ago. So those are now starting to emerge from the soil. And here we have another thornless blackberry. Over by the shed we have the apple tree. This is the duo apple that's got two varieties on. Unfortunately I can't remember the two varieties. But it has been flowering and it's just starting to set fruit now. And that one is still in flower, the other one. Some nice pink flowers on that. So again, looks like I should have a decent crop of apples. I need to make sure that I don't allow the plant to produce too many, because that can overburden it and can make branches snap off. We also have raspberries here that are growing well behind the shed, starting to produce flowers. The other apple tree that's near the potatoes has finished flowering now, and again has lots of potential fruit growing on it. You can see there it's laden with flowers this year, so I'll keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't produce too much fruit. What you do tend to find is in June the plant actually drops a lot of the small fruit. It's called the June drop, and basically the tree prunes itself of fruit because it knows it can't bear all the fruit on the tree. So anything that's not been fertilised properly will drop off, and it's best to keep an eye on it yourself and just make sure that if it's bearing too many fruit, you just remove some of the apples from the clusters so it doesn't overburden itself. If you allow an apple tree to produce too much fruit, what can happen is the following year it can sort of miss fruiting, sort of like it can become a tree that sort of produces fruit every 2 years as opposed to every one. So it's best, if you can, to try and cut back or remove some of the fruit so that you ensure the following year that the tree produces fruit again.
Hope you enjoyed that tour of my allotment in May. Thanks very much for joining me at Nick's Allotment. I'll see you again next time.